Welcome, everybody. Here with me, I have Jake Dials, owner of Bearded Coffee Bean, and fittingly enough, one of the nicest actual beards I've ever seen. How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thanks for having me, by the way. This is awesome.
Oh, for sure. I came across your Twitter account just randomly one day after I saw you actually won one of those Gary V challenges to win a 5 minute phone call with him. How'd you
Yeah.
manage to do that?
Okay. So like you, I work full time still too. Um, and I happened to be like on my last break at work, and I was just thumbing through Twitter on the business account, the Beer Bean Coffee Company account. I was just thumbing through it through break, making sure I didn't miss any notifications and stuff. And I set up my phone to receive his text service, and he put out the message to everybody on that service to use the hashtag Gary V and give him a like short reason why he should one-on-one with us, and he'll pick somebody who used that hashtag on Twitter. And I looked at it and I was like, nah, I'm not going to do that, man. He's got 2 million followers. I'm not even going to worry about it. And I sat there for another couple minutes and I was like, you know what, what's the worst that's going to happen? I mean, he's going to find it or he's not. So I just put out a tweet and I said, hey, man, I want to talk about scalability. My business is growing and I'm sure my followers would really love to see a convo with you. And I tweeted it out. And within like 30 seconds, people just started liking it. And I started getting notifications on my phone. And I was like, what did I do? What did I say something earlier in the day? What happened? And I looked at it, and the first thing I saw was Gary Vaynerchuck liked this tweet, and I was like, "Oh my god!" And then he retweeted it, and he said, "You won," and then he tagged Tyler Schmidt to set it up, and I was just like, I was on cloud nine, man. It was one of those where like I was shaking because I've been watching this guy for 4 years and learning everything I can, and I look up to this guy. And the first thing I did was one, I freaked out, and then the second thing I did was I called my wife, and she answered the phone, and I'm sure I freaked her out because I was just, you know, I was just like, oh my god, I was like, babe, I did it, and she's like, what? I think I think that she was thinking that like I quit my job or something, but I was like, no, here's what happened, and she was she was excited for me and all, but like just to have that interaction with Gary V is like that's a thing that just doesn't happen, especially to a guy like me in the Midwest. And that made my year, man. It was awesome.
Oh, it's crazy. Yeah, so you're not one of those guys that always takes your shot at those challenges. That was your first one.
That was I from time to time I participate, but that was probably like the fourth one. Yeah.
Nice, man. That's so cool. Yeah, so that's how I came across your profile, and I'm like, man, so I'm gonna give this guy a follow now. So I definitely want to see that interview with Gary V. So
Yeah.
that's coming up later this month, right?
Yep. It's coming up on September 25th, and we're going to. I don't know if it's going to be over FaceTime. Tyler mentioned something about through Skype or not Skype, Snapchat. So you can do it through Snapchat too. So either
There you go.
way, I'm gonna record it and I'm gonna soak it up, man. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah,
But
that's so cool. Yeah, you gotta, man. So we were talking about this a little bit before we got rolling.
yeah,
He says 5 minutes. You got to find a way to extend that somehow, right?
I've been thinking about that nonstop for like the last 2 weeks since it's happened. It's like, what am I gonna say? What am I gonna do? And more importantly, how am I gonna keep him interested, knowing all the people that he talks to every single day? I think I've got a really good plan, and I think toward the end of the call, if he alludes to it, like one of those, like, hey, we're getting close to the end here. Do you need anything else, or is there anything else I can help you with? I'm gonna be like, yeah, I got two quick questions for you, man. And it's gonna play out like that. And he's gonna be like, yeah, what's up? I'm gonna be like, one, can I send you some of my coffee just because I want you to try it? And two, can I have a job? And I'm just gonna leave it out on the table. I'm gonna give everything I can, I'm going to leave it at that. See what happens.
That's awesome. Yeah. Yeah, you could always just be like, wait, one more. No, one more real quick. Just keep it going.
I
Soak it
don't
up for all it's worth.
I'm gonna like do something similar to that, but I'm gonna be what I want to call pleasurably annoying.
Yep.
So I don't want to be like a gnat at a barbecue, you know. I want to poke and prod just enough.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah,
I think you can do it. I'm looking forward to hearing it.
I hope so.
So, I was going to save this till the end, but we have actually a few listener questions.
Yeah, sure.
And I was going to ease you into it, but I think I'm going to put you on the hot seat right now.
Good. That's what I like.
There we go.
Throw me in there.
So the first one's actually a compliment, so we'll start off pretty easy here. Somebody on Instagram said, "That's a badass logo he's got. Let him know."
Awesome. Well, whoever
There you
said
go.
that, thank you. I appreciate that.
And next one here. This comes from Jacob at Alpha's Army on Twitter. Which coffee has the biggest beans?
Well, Alpha is a good friend of mine, and I met him through gaming. So I totally expect him to ask a question like that. Um, it comes down to location and it comes down to climate. So places that have higher elevation have lower oxygen levels. So the coffee beans that grow in a higher elevation, the coffee beans are going to be a little bit smaller because they're oxygen restricted. So when you get into a
Wow.
climate like Colombia or like Mexico, that's lower to sea level and warmer temperate climates, they're able to absorb more oxygen. They get more water. They get more of everything. So the beans in Colombia and Mexico tend to be almost twice the size. So
Wow.
I would say Mexico probably has the biggest as far as size.
Mexico with the biggest beans. All
Yeah,
right. Good to
yeah.
know. I thought he was just being a total smart aleck. I
He
didn't think
kind of
there was
is.
even something to that. That's hilarious.
No, he's awesome. I love that dude. He and I have been really good friends. We work on projects together and stuff all the time. So yeah. Even
Nice.
though he's probably pulling our legs a little bit, I think he's also being serious.
That's funny. There's a little something to that. So, what's the flavor difference between like relating to the size of the beans?
It doesn't come down to size that impacts the flavor necessarily. It comes down to, again, going back to climate and location. Um, let's just playing on that Mexico thing. It's going to be a little bit more robust because it's an arid climate. It's warmer. It's closer to the equator, so you're going to have a more robust flavor out of that. And it also comes down to soil content. If there's um, if there's a high acidity content in the soil, you're going to have a more robust flavor. Which is why America doesn't really grow coffee except for one place only, which is Hawaii. They have the Kona blend, and a lot of people really, really like a good Kona blend because it's not robust. It's got just enough kick that you can get all of the soft flavors out of it and undertones. And it comes down to they have a very specific soil that only grows in Hawaii, so it has its own unique flavor. And they have one trade wind that blows through all of Hawaii. So the winds actually mix the soil and everything that grows there together. So you get flavors of everything around Hawaii into this coffee bean. It's really amazing how different soils and different trade winds and different things impact flavor all over the world. It's all different everywhere you get it from.
That's crazy. I've always kind of been curious about that. I do drink quite a bit of coffee. I wouldn't say I'm like a connoisseur like that, but I've always so you'll see like, yeah, this one's from Mexico, it's from Hawaii, here and there. And
Yeah,
I'm like, so what's the difference? I
yeah.
mean,
The
uh,
difference is just location and climate and winds, temperature, a little bit of everything.
nice.
Yeah.
And I'm actually probably going to be a little embarrassed here because I know you have such high quality coffee, and I think my wife's just bringing me Starbucks here in a few minutes. So,
You said the ultimate curse word. No, I'm just kidding.
yeah, I know.
No, it's
Mic drop. Jake leaves the podcast.
I'm out of here. Let's go. No, it's fine, man. A lot of people prefer Starbucks. I just tell people I like to give people blatant and blunt honesty about things. Um,
Give it to me.
the difference between my coffee and any other vendor out there is mine is all AAA rated. A lot of the mass producers like Starbucks or Folgers or anybody else, not to knock on people, I don't want to get sued. Um, it's double A at best.
Ooh.
So the reason why that is because they have to get so much of it all the time, 24/7, that they can't focus on quality. They have to focus on quantity. And when you focus on large numbers, you're not always getting the best of what you need. Since mine's a small business, it's a one-man operation. I just run it myself. I'm able to source exactly what I want from where I want and make sure it's the best quality that I can possibly get for people. So it's always going to taste the same, no matter if you order, the Colombian blend now, or if you order the Colombian blend 6 months from now. It's going to taste the same as it always did. It's just 100% pure coffee. It's flavored by where it comes from and the soil it grows in. It's a manageable price. So you can go to Starbucks. Like, how much do you spend at Starbucks when you get a drink? Like $5 or $6?
Yeah, man. I try to avoid it. I'm kind of a cheapskate. So, but when
Yeah.
I do, yeah, it's around $5.
Yeah. And if you think about that and put it in a context, there are some people who do that 5, 6, 7 days a week.
Oh, it hurts.
Yeah. And if you do that 5 days a week, we'll just say at $5, that's $25 a week. And that works into $100 a month, and that works into a lot of money a year.
Oh yeah.
You can take that $25 a week, and you can buy my coffee for not only $5 cheaper, but you get 12 ounces of it. And that usually, for me, I drink it all day, every day, lasts 2 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really cheap. I figured, so getting into this a little bit, I was going to ask about like the coffee quality later on. So I'm glad you got into it already. And that's crazy that you can have that high quality and have it cheaper. I figured you were going to say it was a little more expensive, but you get what you pay for kind of thing.
You do get what you pay for. When it comes down to, that's why I focus on the quality, because you get what you pay for. I want people to be happy, and I want people to enjoy coffee the way that I enjoy it, which is, it's a pastime thing. I like to drink it while I listen to music, or I'm just at home. Everybody drinks it in the morning when they want to wake up and they don't have the energy to go. It's like, I need some coffee. But if you go to some big chain store and get your 12-ounce can for like $4 or $5, sure, you're saving money in the short run, but it's going to taste like crap. It's not going to be that great. Um, I urge people, I look at it this way: life is short, enjoy yourself, treat yourself the way you need to treat yourself. So I'll throw in the $20 to get myself a bag of coffee that I know that I'm gonna love, and I know that I'm gonna enjoy, and I know it doesn't have any extra flavors or colors or additives or preservatives in it. It's just 100% pure organic coffee.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. Wife had to try the new pumpkin nitro blast or whatever it's called. So
We're so pampered in America. It's crazy.
yeah. But man, I'm eager to try yours actually. I don't think I've ever had like really high quality coffee. I mean, maybe in Cancun when I was vacationing there. I don't know if they give the tourists the good stuff, but
That I
maybe
don't
there.
know. I don't know much about Cancun, but um, I just know that a lot of places here in the States, you're going to get not the best quality, and everybody just knows Starbucks is the thing. And that's
Yep.
kind of sad. There's so much stuff out there.
Yeah, man. And so I have a couple more fan questions here, and what we're just talking about relates into this pretty well. So you have some different blends.
Mm-hmm.
Have you? This is asked by Hank Kellerman of the Rusty Haywagon Circus films. Shameless plug. Has he ever mixed all of the bean varieties and tasted it? Coffee suicide, so to speak.
That's a good idea. And no, I haven't. I probably
Ooh.
should now that you bring it up.
That might be a hit blend. You just
It
mix them
might.
all up.
I don't know if I want to call it the suicide blend. I don't think that go over very well. But maybe I can call it like the all-in-one blend. That'd
There
be
you
cool.
go.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a better brand idea.
that
I
might
don't know
work
if I'd
out.
throw in suicide.
I don't know. I don't think it. I just don't think it'd sell well because of the name.
It's a little, yeah, that's a tough one. And a couple more from Hank. He really blew me up here with some very serious questions. So the next one is there actual beard within your coffee?
No, but it tastes good enough and it's strong enough that it's gonna feel like it's gonna put hair on your face.
It's awesome.
Yeah, hence the logo. I thought it was a catchy logo and a name. And actually, a friend of mine, he helped me come up with that randomly in a stream of mine once. And this was last year. And I told my viewers that I was thinking about this coffee company pretty hard. You know, I was working on it for like 6 months and looking at product, and I was like, I have no idea what to call it. And he's like, dude, just name it after your beard. And it just hit. Once you know, you know.
Yep, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So are you a beard for lifer kind of guy, or is this a recent thing?
It's kind of a recent thing because I used to work in corrections and law enforcement. I worked in a couple different jails in a couple different counties, and I could never have a beard for the longest time. I did it
Mm,
for almost 10 years, um, and after I left that, I kind of figured out that it wasn't for me. It wasn't my thing. I wanted to pursue other ventures, and as soon as I left, I grew a beard, and I love it. So I don't think it's going to go away anytime soon.
now you can't now, especially with Bearded Coffee Co. around.
I know, man. It's a trademark of the bearded bean. Every time I walk around and wear like I can't wear this hoodie without having a beard. Like I'm misrepresenting myself if I shave this thing off.
Oh yeah, it wouldn't make any sense. You'd be so out of brand.
I know. Yours looks pretty nice too, man. You got it like all
Thanks,
trimmed
man.
up on the sides and stuff. Looks really good.
I appreciate that. Yeah, so well, I ask because I don't grow a serious beard like that. I've tried a few times, and man, I just can't. I can't get it to grow down like that. I don't know if I need some conditioner, but mine always grows like out, and it's like a fro on my face, so it's such a mess.
I kind of had that issue at first because even though I'm losing the hair on my head, it seems to be falling down to my beard. I don't know, but if my hair gets long enough, it starts to have like a natural curl. So my beard does it as well,
Same.
and it kind of likes to flare out. But after I grew it long enough, it just kind of started to straighten out a little
Maybe that's my thing. I didn't stick to it long enough.
bit. Maybe I don't know. I don't know. Like it looked really good when it was short, maybe like an inch long or so. But after it started to grow past an inch, it started to do it. And then after it got past that, it's fine.
Nice. Yeah, man, I've had to have facial hair since I was like 15. It
Same,
started coming in.
same. It's good though. I mean, it's good. It means you're healthy. It means your body's doing what it needs to be doing.
For sure, man. Um, there's probably a little TMI, but I mean, let's get into it here.
Sure.
I can't even clean shave my face because of the curls. I
Hmm.
get so much irritation. Facial hair for me is like a necessity. I
Yeah.
can't clean shave.
Yeah.
So whether I like it or not, luckily I happen to like the bearded look. I mean, there's no going back. I'm stuck with this.
I had the same issue too, like sensitivity, especially like right on my neck.
Yep.
And the problem was that it wasn't the shaving that was the problem. It was having to shave every single day. That was the issue. And from bringing that coarse razor on your neck, no matter what razor I
Oh,
used, whether it was a nice one or a crappy one, it would get so irritated because I was shaving every day and I'd get those shave bumps and then I'd have to shave again the next day and I would just shave over them. And it
oh.
just, oh, it was terrible, man. I hated it.
I haven't done that in a few years, but I can just feel what it was like now. I just gave up on it. I
It's
tried to
like,
embrace the beard.
it's like 10,000 paper cuts all over your
Oh,
neck. Exactly what you don't want in your life.
it, I don't know if there's a worse feeling. It's so irritating, man.
It is.
All right. And so another question from Hank. Thanks a lot, Hank.
Yeah.
You're
Thanks,
spending
Hank.
all of our time. And I was actually going to get into this a little bit anyway, but so what was the process like doing consumer and market research and like how to position yourself in a crowded coffee marketplace?
It comes from I'm trying to figure out the way to word this as to the point as I can.
Hmm.
Um, for me, it doesn't take much motivation other than telling myself to be completely honest. Hey, man, one day you're going to die. And I look at
Gary
that
V.
exactly. And that is, I'll go back to it in a sec, but that's the primary reason why I originally started listening to this guy, because that was something that was always in my head for years and years and years before, like, even Wine Library TV was a thing. And that's the thing that I would use as my motivation to do something that I was afraid to do. Hey, man, do it, because one day you're going to die. One day you're going to get
Hmm.
old, and you're going to sit back and you're going to look at yourself and say, you idiot, you should have done that thing 40 years ago that you wanted to do, and now you can't do it. So that's why I started following Gary, and the dude speaks to me on levels that I don't think people understand, in the sense of I want the information and I want it just the way it is. No frills, no bows, no gold, none of that. I want somebody to tell me I suck and here's why and how to fix it. And that's
Yep.
it. And that's what he does. Um, so that's kind of where this comes into play. I've always been a coffee drinker. I love coffee. It's my thing. Some people like beer, some people like wine, some people just prefer water, and that's fine. Um, I've always wanted to go the entrepreneurial route, and I found a really, really stable market in coffee. As you know, coffee is popular all over the world. It's $100 billion a year market. It's a $2 billion a year market in the United States. So I kind of thought about the process. I thought about what I would need and how to do it, and I told myself, "Hey, man, you might as well do it. Everything is there. One day you're going to die, and you're going to wish you did it. And even if you get 1% of that $2 billion market, you're in there." And so that was enough motivation for me to start looking at product, looking at how to set up everything and source everything and how to do what I needed to do. So I built everything from scratch. I built a website, designed the logos, made all the content, and still do. Everything that's pushed out there regarding the business is just all me. And so I set it up, made my mark, got a partner, got locked in with Gary V. We're good to go.
Nice.
Yeah.
Man, yeah, that relates to me quite a bit. Yeah, I love that quote he has, "You're gonna die."
Yeah. It's so
It's
true.
so motivating.
It is.
But yeah, I mean that's the thing too. So I'm in marketing and advertising. I'm really getting into internet video advertising in particular.
Mhm.
And that's the thing too. It relates to the coffee industry in a way where like yeah, it's really crowded. There's a bunch of people doing it, but I don't need this huge chunk of the marketplace, It's what I want to do and
Right.
I'm good at it. I can carve out some of my own place in the market. So why not go for it?
Why not? Why not? There's enough for everybody to go around. There's so much money in this market. People don't realize how much money there is. There is literally enough for everybody out there. And
Yeah.
it's a matter of I I know I'm not going to directly compete with Folgers. I know that. They do so much volume. I understand that. Not my driving force. My driving force is that this, no matter what market it's in, whether it's coffee, whether it's drones, or whether it's just drop shipping products, it doesn't matter. I don't look at it as competition. I look at it as I can follow some of the principles that these people have laid out because they're successful. If I want to succeed, I can learn something from them and do it my own way and put my own take and my own spin on it. So that's what I did, and
Yeah,
this seems to be working out.
that's the key thing. You can get into a crowded marketplace, but you have to be able to differentiate yourself in one way. You have to have some type of identity to at least stand out to a certain number of people. If you start
True.
doing the cookie cutter thing and then try to compete with the big dogs, not going to get any of that market share.
Yeah. And I don't know if necessarily this will apply to you because I've listened to your podcast. I've listened to almost all the episodes and I
I
like what you're
appreciate that.
doing and you know your stuff. Hey, it's good content, man. Anybody should absorb it. So if you guys are listening to this, make sure you listen to the other episodes that he has on here because they're going to get better. They're good now, but they're going to get better.
Yes.
Um, it's one of the things because like it's time management because you and I both work full time. um I don't remember, did you say you had kids or no?
Not yet. I'm
Not
married,
yet.
so I've been married a little over a year, but trying to put off the kids, man, at least till I can get my business rolling. And
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
it's easier to get some of these things going now with a little more free time at least. So, but the wife
yeah,
still needs attention, obviously. So,
yeah, absolutely. And I mean, you understand how short time is. My For me, um I have a wife. I have two kids. One's
wow.
4, one's 4 months. So I've got some young ones, and I work 50 to 60 hours a week in my full time job, and I manage the business on top of everything else. And that's the number one question that I think I get asked the most is how do I manage the time? And I think that's the one driving force to keep people from doing the thing that they want to do with their lives. It's equally cool that they're asking me, but equally amounts of frustrating that they're using that to leverage themselves to not do anything.
Mm,
And while that really sucks for people to sit there and have all those negatives in the back of their mind, stopping them from doing the thing that they love to do, it's good for me because I know that I'm not competing against 99% of people out there. I'm competing against myself and a couple other people that I worry about. That's good for me, but for those people who talk negatively and have this mindset of, well, I can't do it because of this reason, that reason, this reason, that reason. Well, that's great. I mean, it's horrible that you think like that. I don't want you to think that way. You can totally do it because I'm doing it. um, but great, limit my competition. You're doing me a favor, but I also want to help.
yep. Yeah, it's really cool that you came on, and I didn't even know that you had a full time job. I figured with everything you manage that you were surely completely on your own now. Because a lot of the guests come on, and I believe only maybe just one of the guests before you have a full time job along with their side hustle or whatever business they're running.
Mhm.
And I mean, I'm trying to relate to people, those that are starting, maybe they are doing their thing full time, but also to the people that have a full time job and they're in the early stages. So, like, how do you manage your time?
It starts by, to be completely honest, picking somebody to be with that's going to completely support you. That's the number one factor in all of this is that if she didn't support me in anything that I ever chose to do, and it was one of those like, hey, you need to spend more time at home or spend more time with the family, this and that thing. It probably wouldn't be happening because I love my wife. I don't want to get divorced. She's my best friend in the world. Um, but she's also clear-headed and level-headed enough to know that I have things that I want to do with my life, and she completely supports that. So I could pretty much go to her and be like, hey, I want to start this thing, and she'll pretty much be like, yeah, go for it. I support you. That's number one for me. For other people who aren't married or don't have kids, that's going to be different, obviously. um, get yourself on a schedule. Get up at 4 in the morning. Get up at 5 in
Yep.
the morning. Stop sleeping in. Get your butt out of bed. If tired is the only problem that you have to face, you're doing pretty damn good.
Yep.
um, you get up at 4, you don't start work till 8, you have a 4 hour window to get ahead of your competition and beat whoever it is you're working against. Um, I wish that I could work an 8 to 4 or 9 to 5 or whatever it is. I wish I could. I'm up at 4 every morning and I work from 6 to 6. Sunday through Thursday. It seems daunting, but if I can do it, it can be done. Those videos that I film on my TikTok and put on my Instagram and put over Twitter and blast everywhere, I film those on my breaks at work. I make the time. The responses during the day that I give to people on the Twitter accounts, I do that during work. Although we are not supposed to have our phones at work,
Uh-huh.
anybody knows, and anybody who's in the know will tell you, sometimes you got to break some rules, and sometimes you got to bend some rules. And I certainly do. But
Yeah, I can relate to that a little bit.
I think everybody can.
Yeah, man. I mean, you got to push the boundaries a little bit when you're in a tricky time situation. And I don't know if you heard this podcast recently about making time for your side business, but I'm in a similar spot, right? And I actually think it's a lot easier to get to 30, 40 hours outside of a 9 to 5 than people think.
It is.
I mean, if you have the motivation, there is the time. Like, I broke it down very like mathematically. So my typical job hours are roughly like 7:30 to 3:30, or give or take on each end of that.
Mm-hmm.
So I know 4 to 6 a.m. p.m. every day I can get 4 hours in
Sure.
outside of work. And then you have the weekends. There's no reason you can't get at least 10, 15 hours in on the weekends. Just don't sleep in.
I
Like,
mean, if you're really
honestly,
motivated, you could get 20 or 25
oh,
or maybe 30
oh,
if you want to.
exactly. Yeah. I mean, the weekends, geez. If you open up weekend time and just cut out sleeping in, the hours are there. So there's no
Absolutely.
reason you can't build something on the side.
Yeah, I heard you talk about that on one of your episodes about the time management thing, and you were explaining just that, and I was like, yeah, this guy knows what he's talking about. I mean, it's all there, and you're doing the right things. I mean, you get up really early before anybody wakes up, and that gives you that time slot where you can just grind it out before you have any interruptions, you have any disturbances, nobody's calling you because nobody's awake because nobody's
Yep.
doing what you're doing. And that's a longevity thing. That's the long tail that people need to play. And I think you understand that probably better than 99% of the people that I've spoken to one on one, that the time management is key. And you can totally fit those hours in. You just have to do it. So, what's the
Yep.
motivation is the question.
Exactly. Yeah. If you have a strong enough why and you're passionate enough about something, even when you lack a little motivation, you can still stay disciplined and
Yeah,
just get it done. I didn't want to get
absolutely.
up at 5 a.m. this morning, but I had work to do. So Saturday morning, I'm up at 5, you
Yeah,
know, but I have bigger goals than to sleep in.
right. And I think that's going to play into your favor in the long run. And I think you're going to find that out probably pretty quick. I think you have a good podcast. I think you have a good thing going on here, and you have a good personality. You treat people fairly and equally. You're not one of those people that just wants to play the Monopoly game and just acquire things. You care about people. I can tell, and I
I
think that'll
appreciate
play
it.
out in your
Yeah,
favor
I
too.
definitely do.
Yeah, and that'll work out really well for you. Um, yeah, and it just seems to be the market that you're in that'll work for you. You're not gonna the things that you do. I know that you do some stuff on Amazon, and I know you flip stuff, and all the small things that you do is going to require you to be one on one with smaller people or just one on one with a person. So that attitude is really going to work out really well for you, and people are going to remember like, oh, what was that? Who's that nice guy I just talked to? He walked up to me and shook my hand, and he said, please and thank you and stuff. And the pleasantries are nice, but I think we're going to find out going into 2020 that um, things that we see on social media that are popular now aren't going to be so popular as just being real. And I think that'll play into your favor too.
Yeah, man, you're preaching to the choir here. I think that, and I talked about this recently too, how, man, you look at business, like if you get on Instagram, go to the Discover tab and scroll through business, dude, it's big houses, Lamborghinis, and infographics. that's it. You don't see any personality. People are going to get sick of that. I mean, I've been done with it for a while, but they're apparently still running. Enough people still do it. I really don't get it, but I don't think people are drawn to that.
I think I think 5 years ago people were drawn to it because there were people who didn't see the way out, and they saw this guy who drove a Lambo and had a 30-room home and said, "Wow, I want to do that with my life. How'd you do it?" And then that guy puts out a video on YouTube and says, "Well, join my $6,000 course and I'll tell you how I do it," without telling you anything.
Of course.
That's how he did it. You got robbed. That kind of fluff is not something that's ever going to impress me. I rent my house. I don't own a home. My car is about $4,000 away from being paid off. I'm almost out of debt because the lifestyle that I've chosen, so I can further my life in the long run. I don't need a fancy house. I don't need to buy the cool stuff to impress people that I don't care about and don't care about me equally. Um, my house that I'm currently renting was built in 1905 and hasn't been updated since it seems like 1974, although we've
Nice.
painted it and done some work and stuff. But I don't need people to like me for the things that I have. I don't need that. Some people do, and if that's your thing, then do it. But for me, I choose not to, because that extra money that I don't have to pay a mortgage on, that I don't have to pay a car payment on, that I don't have to spend because I'm not buying a Gucci belt or something from Versace, or some new pair of kicks that I don't care about having. I can take that money and throw it back into the business,
Yep.
and I
There
I
it
think
is.
that's yeah. And for entrepreneurs like yourself, and for like myself and anybody else who listens to this, stop caring about what people think. Stop it. A lot of people do. It's kind of one of the things that I personally, for me, I want to get into, and I've always wanted to get into, was speaking, public speaking, whether it's, like, I don't know, not necessarily like a keynote speaker, but, um, going around maybe talking to young entrepreneurs in college or coming up in high school or whatever. If that's the one motivating thing I could ever tell them, is stop caring about what people think about you.
I'm with you. Yeah, that's awesome. Man, and that's going to play in your favor in the long run so well because like you mentioned, you're not wasting your money on material things to impress people that you don't even care about,
No.
right? So that money's going back into the business. So while everybody else is spreading themselves too thin, buying material things, you're just tossing money into the business, working hard, throwing money in,
Yeah.
and those compound,
Yeah.
keep growing.
And just so people know who can't see the video, the shirt that I'm obviously wearing is from my company, but I made it. And the shirt that I'm wearing underneath it, I made it myself too. It's my stuff. I don't need anything nice. This is just
Yeah,
my
man.
stuff. This is my personal brand. I'm going to build it and push it. So I'm going to wear my stuff every single day. And
Yeah,
people
I'm
know.
really thinking about doing that too. I mean,
Do it. Do
yeah,
it,
man.
man. Build your brand. Life is
Yeah, that's
short.
that's cool. I dig that hoodie for people not watching. So it has the coffee bean with a very nice full flowy beard on it. Very
Yeah.
impressive.
Yeah. Thank you. It took me like a whole 2 hours to come up with a design, and when I got it, I was like, "Yep, that's it. Let's do it."
That's it. When you know, you know.
Yeah, turned out really well, and people respond to it. I wear this hoodie every day, and people ask me where I got it from, and then I tell them, and they're like, "Oh, you have a business?" Yep, I've only been doing it for a year. It's brand new. Check it out. And then more times often now than not, I get a sale out of it, which is cool.
Yeah, instead of trying to impress people with fancier shirts, you can wear your brand and let that turn into a marketing and discussion point potentially. It's
I,
awesome.
I think why it doesn't work out for people like that who wear the nice suits and drive the Porsches and Lamborghinis and stuff. I think the reason why it doesn't tend to work out for them, always like they would like, um, is just because of that facade they put up. It's they do it for the money. Me personally, I'm doing it for the happy, not for the money. even though they tell you to go into business for money. I'm chasing something that makes me happy, and I would rather do that and make $10,000 less a year, and instead of work at this job that I hate and make $10,000 more a year.
Nice, man. And relating this to my industry a little bit, I don't know if are you familiar with Billy Jean as marketing at all?
I know the name, but I'm not familiar. No.
So he's the video advertising guru. Like he
Hmm.
has it. He has all the fancy cars and everything, and he's openly said that videos promoting himself, the ones that do better are oftentimes just the single shot camera. He's just speaking to the audience. He has some videos with like Bentleys and stuff in it that he'll try being all flashy. Those
Hmm.
don't resonate with people as well. It's crazy,
They
but I think there really is a shift there.
there is, and going back to Gary V stuff, I think he hit the nail on the head when he said that the coolest thing about the internet is that while it gives us, there's always that 6 degrees of separation. Like, somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody who's in the game or whatever. The cool thing about Twitter is that it turns that 6 degrees of separation into one. So you can contact these people directly now, face to face, one on one, whatever. I without Twitter, I never would have been able to get this one-on-one time with you. I never would have been able to get this one-on-one time stuff with Gary V. It just wouldn't have happened without the internet. But the cooler thing on top of that about the internet is he was right. It exposes us. It does. Um, People put their truths out there, and people put their feelings and emotions and everything out there in real life. And I think what we're finding out is that we're going to back away from the superficial stuff because anybody in California can drive a Lamborghini. That doesn't impress us. People are emotional by default. People are have emotions and feelings by nature and by design, and we focus on those superficial things to play on insecurities that we're lacking or trying to make up for something that we lack.
Mm.
Um, the cool thing about us being exposed on the internet is that we get to be real with people, and people respond to the real stuff. That's why reality TV is just why it exploded. That's why it was so big, was because it was real, quote unquote real. Some of it, of course, is scripted because it's on TV, but you get to see, like, Keeping Up with the Kardashians obviously is fake. Some of it is
What?
real. Well, yeah, I know, right? Mind blown.
Are you
But
serious?
yeah, and while some of it is fake, people still get that inside look at like a celebrity that they love lifestyle away from all the glitz and the glam, and they get the real stuff. And that's what's going to work in our favor. That's what's going to work for you because you're real about things. Um, you don't put any fancy bells and whistles on things,
Nope.
and I don't either. I just like to talk to people. I just want to help people, and I just want to succeed in my life. So um, people get that exposure. No matter what social they follow me on, it's all there. It's all real.
Yep. And we don't show it. I mean, maybe we wouldn't anyway, like if we had it, but we
Yeah,
don't show it because we don't have it. We're just being real. And, there's nothing necessarily wrong with people showing off cars that they actually bought and whatnot. I mean, I'm not personally into it a ton, but that's at least real. And I think what people don't realize is when you don't have it, but you act like you have it, it's so obvious. And people can tell right through a screen. And I think they think they're tricking people, but people see through that. If you're not true to yourself, it just comes across so fake and people aren't going to ride with you about it.
yeah, yeah. And that's what I like about your podcast is that it's you. It's just you being you, and it's great because there's no bells and whistles to it. Like I keep going back to that, but people like that stuff, and people can identify with that real stuff. And once they identify with something that you said, whether it was on TikTok or Twitter or whatever, or on your podcast, people can identify that, they will latch on, and they want to know more about you. And that's your job as a content creator, no matter what you're doing, to offer that. And those people that respond to that will keep coming back, and then they'll go tell a friend at work, and they'll say, "Dude, I just listened to this podcast, just like you told me about Billy here. I don't know anything about him, but I'm going to go check it out just because he said so."
Oh,
You
he's
know,
good. Yeah.
that's just the way that it works.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, so going back to Gary V, it's kind of a Gary V love fest here, but it goes back to documenting rather than creating. You know, I don't need all the bells and whistles, and people don't even relate to that anyway. So
Hmm.
why put in all that effort to be fake about something? I can just document the real stuff, and that's what people want to listen to anyway.
Yeah, and there is something to be said. Don't get me wrong. There is something to be said for production value. Some stuff that you work on, you can refine it and make it clean. Like you can make the audio sound great, or you can, make sure you're shooting at 1080p at 60 FPS or whatever you want to do. That's fine. I do that too. Um, I like quality. I do. That's why I sell my coffee. It's quality stuff. It's great, and I'm not just going to put crap out there and expect people to buy it because I'm not chasing the money. Um, but as far as like any videos that you've ever seen me shoot, they're just on my iPhone. And I choose my iPhone because it's a smooth 1080p at 60 frames per second. And I just like the way it delivers. Um, but as time goes and as I build up all the social stuff that I'm doing, you're going to see the production value up, but the realism is still going to be there. All that's not ever going to change. Um, but there is some interesting stuff you can do with production value. Um, you can edit in effects of, yeah, I'm sure you've seen a million of Gary's videos where he puts in where he's at, what the location is, what the time is, and just small transition effects and things like that. But
Mm-hmm.
the reality part of it is still there. And that's okay to do. It works. Do it.
Yeah, yeah, that's the important thing. The what actually is like on the screen is the real part. You know, that has to be there. And I'm curious about something else. So Gary V often preaches to go for all your passions, do everything at once. Why limit yourself to one thing? And a lot of recent guests that I've spoken to are definitely on the other side of things where it's better to dominate a niche and you're able to scale so much quicker when you're just staying focused on one thing. And you're in a lot of different areas. So, how do you manage what you spend your time on? And I mean, what's your take on that? On why you're not just focused on one thing at a time?
While I am laser focused on the company, if that was the only thing that I did and just that, I would get completely bored. For some people, they can laser focus on one thing and just do that thing, and that's fine. That's great. If that works for you, do it. Um, i think i think the people that tend to focus on one thing at a time are missing out on so many other opportunities that they can use to pull resources in and pull new customers in. So if I just focused on the business and just focused on SEO and marketing the business just on the business website as a whole, and hopefully people look at it on Google, all these people that I don't talk to on Twitter, all these people that I don't talk to on Instagram, all these people on YouTube, Facebook, or any other platform, TikTok, whatever, I'm missing out on all these people. Um, one of the first videos I posted on TikTok had 151 views. That's 151 potential extra clicks that I could have had toward my website that never would have existed if I didn't focus on that too and put it out there as well. Same with any other platform or medium. So it's all encompassing. I think we're getting to a point where, yes, you can be focused on one task and do that, and you can be okay depending on what market you're in. But I also think that as we progress and things get easier to do, I think that people need to start branching out of that comfort zone and push toward bringing everything all together into one big bubble. So that's why I push Twitter and TikTok and social media so much, is because you have this outreach for free to all of these people that will come your way if you push it the right way. And why would you want to limit that? If I'm talking to you and I have if I have a $1 bill on the table, and then over here on the other side of the table, I have a stack of bills up to $1,000, I'll be like, which one do you want? Of course, you're going to take the thousand. You want the most that you can get out of what you've got. Why are we not doing that? Why are we limiting ourselves to just one avenue of potential when we have 100 for free?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. And I think when you're able to utilize resources and feed them into each other, that's the real selling point out of everything you said that really struck with me. I mean, if everything had their own place and you never brought them together in any way, then I could see how it'd be tough to be able to focus on all these different areas. But when you have one goal that all these different things relate into, I think
Mhm.
that definitely helps.
Yeah, it does. It absolutely does. And some people might not like talking to people or being on camera. That's okay. But I also say it's getting to a point where you're going to have to get over that and do it. Um, it's scary for a lot of people to do that. For me, it's not. I've been on TV a lot. I've been behind a camera. I used to work as an international model too for years. So
Hey,
like
hey,
the camera is not something that's foreign to me. It comes pretty naturally to me. I'll talk about whatever on camera. I don't care. As
nice.
long as it reaches out and touches somebody and touches their heart and brings them back, that's all I want. If it speaks to somebody, great. I did my job.
That's cool, man. And yeah, I can relate a little bit here. So this summer, I actually took part in a movie. The one, Hank, the one
Hmm.
that asked, the 20 questions.
Yeah.
He actually started his own little production team and made a movie this summer that I took part in. And at the time, I actually didn't even know that I was gonna start the podcast. So little did I know, getting used to mics and cameras in front of me really helped out. It played
Yeah.
right into it.
Oh, it
And
absolutely does.
I mean, if I was so focused on some of the other things I had going on and not branching out into that, I probably would have been a little less prepped for the podcast.
Right. So,
So,
I mean, it's like I said, it's all encompassing, man. How do you know something that you're not doing on your podcast isn't going to play out into your real life, just like it did in that case? And I remember you talking about it, and you're like, "Oh, this guy's going to hate me when I equate it this way to like it's like Sharknado," and then they're going to, yeah. I laughed about that. That was pretty funny. Um, but I'm interested to see it. When does it come out?
so sometime this winter, either probably late December or January.
Okay.
I know he's busting his tail editing this thing, and it's actually pretty crazy. Some distribution companies have reached out, and I don't know if you've seen the trailer, but it is pretty funny. I think it'll be entertaining no matter what. In one way or another, it's worth whatever it's going to cost to
Yeah.
watch it. It's going to be a good
Oh,
movie.
I haven't seen the trailer, but I want to. You'll have to send me the link so I can check it out. 'Cause I'll watch
Yeah,
it for
for
sure.
sure.
If I like
Yeah,
it,
I
I'll
will.
probably share it on Twitter for everybody to look at too.
Oh yeah, no, I've been shoot. I mean, I know you followed me just recently. I've been shamelessly plugging it like crazy over time. So, but I
Yeah.
can definitely share it again for you.
Yeah, I'll go check it out for sure. I want to see this thing. It sounds
Yeah,
like
don't
just
critique
the
me too
right amount
hard.
of crazy that I'm gonna love.
That's the goal.
Yeah, it's fine, man. I mean, film's cool. I did a commercial one time for 5 Hour Energy where I played a really ridiculous action star named Brock Cage,
Oh,
and he was a guy who thought that he was top dog, but in reality, he was just not at all. So he's one of those guys who like thought he could fight and couldn't fight to save his life if he had to, and then just machismo out the wazoo. Just it's absolutely absurd. And looking over that script and actually filming it, it was probably the most fun thing I've ever done as far as film's concerned. But it ended up
nice.
working out really well. It sold here in Canada, and it was great. It
That's
was a
cool,
lot of
man.
fun.
Yeah, making a movie. It's tough. I mean, there are some challenges of it, but overall, it's so fun, man.
Yeah, it is. It's
A
an
lot of fun.
experience unlike any other. So those of you listening, if you thought about that too, do it. You're gonna die
Yeah,
one day. Just do it.
Hey, and if you're in Kansas City, I know a guy. We can use you in the next movie.
There you go.
Devolution 2. It might be
Ah,
underway next year.
nice, dude.
We already have the sequel planned before the first one's released. How about that?
That's good. That's what you want to do. You want to start one and end it and go right into the next one. You want to just keep it going. Bam, bam, bam. Bust them out one after the other.
It's perfect. Yeah, so we're going to use the sequel to promote the first one, because you have to watch the first one for the second one to make sense.
Yeah, yeah. And a lot of people don't do that now, though. With streaming, we can just binge watch everything, and people pick up season 3 and don't even watch 1 and 2, and then they
What?
end up going back and watching.
People
It's
do
just the
that?
way it is. Yeah, stuff's so easy to access now. We can.
Oh,
I mean,
I'd hate watching it out of order.
I don't know. I don't really watch TV, but I know there's like that spoiler community of people who hate spoilers and they get absolutely pissed if somebody spoils something for them. Me, I don't care. It's just TV, man. I I don't know.
Yeah.
Some people care and I get it, but I don't mind. Like I started watching like The Walking Dead at like season 3 or 4, and then I went back and watched 1 and 2 and 3 and caught up, and it's fine. I don't care.
There you go. So we're starting to get closer to the end here. I'm curious, what would you recommend to people who are maybe intrigued with starting something out on their own or in the early stages? What type of motivation or recommendations would you give them?
I like to be very blunt and honest about things, and I tell people what they need to hear, not what they want to hear. If you're thinking about trying something, do your research, listen to people, watch videos, search Google and YouTube, do your research. It's going to be a lot of study work. Know your market and do your research. Whatever market it is, know what you're talking about. Because if you don't know what you're talking about, people will not take you seriously. They're going to call you a bullshitter, and then you're not going to be able to sell whatever you want to sell. Um, that's going to be paramount, whether you're just starting out or you've been doing it for 10 years. Know your stuff, know your customer, be real with people, be straight up and be honest. If you don't know the answer, tell them straight up that you don't know. And that's okay. We're not perfect, we're not robots, but we have robots in our pockets that we can access to be like, I don't know the answer, but I'm going to find out right now and we're going to learn together. That's a cool experience for people because you get to bond over that.
Google is your mother.
Yes. So is YouTube. YouTube is a good resource to learn everything for free. You don't necessarily have to go to college to learn things now. You can Google and YouTube your way to success. Um, the blunt and honest part, get off your lazy butt and go do the work. You're going to die one day and then you're going to have that regret. And that's going to be worse than anything else, probably for me. Um, get up early, get out of bed, go do the work.
I'm with you. I like it. Anything else you want to plug? So you have the bearded bean.
The bearded bean. Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
I I think I said it wrong earlier. Sorry about that. So the Bearded Bean
Oh, it's
Coffee
fine, dude.
Company.
Yeah, it's a mouthful. It's hard to say, you know.
I think I
It's not
said
abc.com, so
the Bearded Coffee Co. So I missed the bean.
no, I don't
Sorry
know.
about that.
I don't know. As long as people understand I have a coffee company, the information's out there. That's fine. But it's called the Bearded Bean Coffee Company. It's only been around for about a year. I just got my year in last month, my first year. But I want to plug that, of course. I'd love for people to check out the website. Whether you're just a website designer and want to check out how I designed it and all the graphics and stuff, please do. Send me some critiques. I like honest, open opinions. If it sucks, tell me why. It doesn't bother me. I want to know how to make it better. I want to know how to make things better. The Twitter, I have 2 Twitter accounts that I'm pushing pretty hard, which is the Bearded Bean Twitter account, which is just Bearded Bean Co. Um, and then my new Twitter that I launched a couple days ago, which is I am Jake Dials. I wanted to pursue myself more as a professional and as an entrepreneur, so I'm going to push that too because I want to do more podcasts like this. I want to do more public speaking events. I want to start to get my name out there and push who I am with the brand together. I do have a TikTok. It's Bearded Bean Co. as well. People think it's silly, but they don't understand that it's not at scale yet and how insanely popular it is. I can post a video there and get 10 times the amount of views that I could ever get on YouTube instantly. We do have a YouTube as well. It's also, I think it's Bearded Bean Coffee Company. Don't remember off the top of my head. And also it's on, we're on Instagram as well.
I like it. Yeah, I like that you started your own personal brand as well. I think that'll really help, and people will connect with the beard behind the Bearded Bean Coffee Company.
I'm fortunate that I get two of the same really cool compliments pretty much all the time when I talk to people at first meet. Dude, your beard is awesome. So the brand is synonymous with the beard now, which is cool. And my God, you have a golden voice for radio. And I say, thank you. Have you tried my coffee?
Perfect, man. Thanks for all the time. Everybody, be sure to check out the Bearded Bean Coffee Company. Follow him on all of his sites. He puts out a lot of cool stuff. So thanks so much for the time, man.
Thank you, Brady. I appreciate it, man.
Absolutely. Take care.
You too, man.
Now that's a guy you'd want to drink coffee from. He knew so much about coffee beans, kind of just blew my mind. It was funny, I got that question on Twitter about the size of the coffee beans, thinking it was a total smart aleck comment, but there's something to it. And that's what I want out of my coffee guy. And I'm really looking forward to trying his coffee. I'm actually going to be testing it here pretty soon. I'll definitely let everybody know how it is. But I already know it's going to be awesome. AAA rating. So that was a fun interview. And we got into a lot of things relating to time management and how to just make it work when you want something bad enough. He works 50 to 60 hours a week at his full-time job and still manages to run a young and very impressive coffee company. And there's just so much going into it. If you follow him on any of his social media accounts, you see how much content he's putting out. And that's only part of the battle. I don't even know what all he's doing behind the scenes that don't relate to branding and marketing. It's very impressive. So I appreciate Jake for coming on. Be sure to give him a follow. He's at Bearded Bean Coffee Company on probably every social media that you could go to. He also started his Jake Dials Twitter account. Maybe it's elsewhere too, but for sure on Twitter. Focusing on his personal brand a little more too, which is awesome. And that is something that I'm currently doing, so highly recommend that to people, to actually put a face to what you're up to and not just the brand. And Jake's doing an awesome job of that. To give me feedback about the show, be sure to connect with me at Brad Dog Media on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And special guest, Chicago's own Lex, will be taking us home with his song, Hollywood. You can follow him at Lex Is Not Here on Instagram. Without further ado, take us home, Lex.
still high from the natural. And I don't know where I'm going, but I feel that I really might be on the top, still hitting my peak. Do it feel good? You waited on me. I did this, yeah, little old me. Now the name is Mr. Bo Peep. Every day I wake up a little more sheep. Check my phone, check my phone. You want me? Oh no, can't fold. Gotta get the money in the lab to the flow, yeah. Now I'm spitting more heat. Aim this flow at your dome. I know the whole focus. Dressed in peace. Do it feel good? Yeah. Riding around in this whip, yeah. Cup full of that drip, yeah. Sip after sip. Do it feel good? Yeah. Riding around in my car, still watching me from afar, yeah. Fall in love with the star. Do it feel good? Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it feel good? Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it feel riding in the race in the drop top, feeling that bass going bop bop, getting so blazed. Oh yeah, we only spoke the top notch. Show me text me for the thoughts pop up. My mind only on the guap. Why now? Would I ever stop? Boy, I need everything and that's a lot. So I put in like all I got. Got visions of calling the shots. Yeah, I'm grinding till my heart stops. Beat banging in my head so loud, man. The neighbor about to call the cops. Counting on this year like December 31st. Yeah, that's right before the ball drops. I put in everything, it seems y'all not. Blood, sweat, and tears right in that pot. Mix it all up, look at what y'all got. Do it feel good? Hope it's sesame to the recipe. You call it winning. Open up doors to the money truck for me. No Lord, please don't let me slip in that pool of sin. And I know this is just the beginning, so I don't wanna lose the last bit of innocence I have left. Cause I swear I can see the serpents. Man, your mother boy, tell me, do it feel good? Telling the devil your soul, losing all of control. Do it feel good? Watching all the dominoes fall, knowing I'm still gon' blow. Do it feel good? Taking that easy road, still can't find where you gone. Do it feel good? Living no need for gold, knowing you'll never find love. Do it feel good? Yeah. Riding around in this